All right, that's good enough.
Dude, giant racism.
No, no, not
Giant
giant racism.
racism.
I
What
mean,
if
like
we
giant racism is like kind of cool, actually, from like a world building
what if
perspective.
for this thumbnail I just put giant racism in big bold letters
That's
with maybe
honestly
like
not it's honestly not a horrible idea.
yeah, and then I just have Loki laughing in the background, just giant racism. And then that's our thumbnail for this week. Now that we're finally back to One Piece.
Nice. So is that our first topic?
Yeah, it's a topical one. Let's do it.
Okay, so what's specifically just the whole
Let's
thing
talk
about
about what's
ancient
cool
Oni?
about it first.
Okay, what's cool is it's cool that giants are racist in a way that humans aren't, which is interesting.
Yes.
Because what are ancient giants? Ancient giants are a subset of giants that tend to be bigger, stronger, have horns, and have an alternate skin color. Here's something interesting. Those exist in humans. Look at Moria. Look at Hannibal. um, but from what we can tell, they aren't discriminated against based on that.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of like you look at Whole Cake Island, like, no one looks at, like, people with long noses and, like, is like, oh, look at that freak or whatever. But people will look at Pudding with the third eye and be like, well, what the fuck's your problem? So it's like
Yeah,
humans will, like, will be bigoted against non humans, but within giants, they're bigoted against other giants, which is kind of funny.
in
Yeah.
interesting ways. Or like giants also care a lot more about nationality
Yeah.
because Elbaf. See, it seems like Elbaf is the only group of giants that actually has like a warrior culture, and the rest are just like knights.
Yeah, that's
um,
possible.
which, which is all. Well, literally Saul isn't, and when Saul, what Saul literally says is, "I'm not from Elbaf. I'm not a warrior giant." So it's kind of like the implication is like Elbaf is the only reason that stereotype even exists.
Yeah, it's also always very fun in fantasy settings or sci-fi settings when it turns out a group of people have like internal racism that outsiders can't immediately recognize. Like one of my favorite examples is like the most ham-fisted thing
Oh, the Star
ever.
Trek one that
Yes.
even I've seen because it's really obvious.
I know, and it's like, oh, you have this race of people. It's like half their face is black, half their face is white, and he's like, look at that barbarian over there. How can you compare me to him? And he's like, you guys look the same to us. The same? I have black on the right side of my face. He has black on the left side of his face. And it's just always funny
it's
because it's like,
really
oh,
funny.
because we don't like actually because racism is like illogical. We might not know what like faulty logic is being used by certain cultures
No,
to discriminate.
it's a very fun way to show how socially constructive it is. Because if it was natural, every group would have racism in the same way. But it's clearly socially constructed because every group has their own stupid history and justification for it. No one like agrees. No one's like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, obviously this is the bad thing.
yeah, like in universe, like every human would look at a giant and ores like pretty much the same. Like it's already a big scary thing that can squash you like a bug. Like sure, maybe you're a bit more scared because one has horns and
Yeah.
like fangs
Or
or
like
whatever. But
even
like
more
it's
specifically, like Saul and Bragi. No one is gonna look at one compared to the other and be like, "Ah, yes, I can tell one of these is more fearsome than the other." They'd be like, "Holy shit, it's a giant!"
I know, just like if there was something like 10,000 times taller than me, I wouldn't be like, oh no, one has fangs. I should only be racist towards that one. I'd be like,
um,
holy shit, both
it's
these things are scary and I don't want them near me. Get them out of my backyard.
so basically fun world building, and also just to kind of address the whole, "Ooh, does this mean ancient giants are their own singular race?" I think the best thing to compare them to would probably be like the different types of Skypians or the different tribes of humans. Like, Shandians are objectively different from Skypians, but they're all Skyfolk. They're all the same general category. Or like, long arms and long legs are tribes, but they're still subsects of humans. They're just really fucking weird looking ones.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what ancient giants are. So what was the bad take involving that? Was it O'Hara's?
Well, I mean, there's some more good stuff, like about like Loki and how like he has horns, and like maybe that's part of the
He
reason his
seems to
dad
have
thought.
horns,
Yeah, like and like his
which
his dad, King Harold, like he shaved off his own Oni horns and be like those types of things are like a bygone era of the past. We shouldn't be warriors like that anymore. But like he associates like a brutish war like nature to having horns, and so he shaves his off and then like persecutes his, well, not persecutes necessarily, but like
persecutes, but like
He said his
It's
son
not
was
a
a
good
bad
thing for
omen.
his
Like
kid to
yeah.
hear.
Like his son who's born with horns. Like that's the cursed devil child. He's a bad omen. And part of the reason for that might be because he was born with horns, which Harold's not a fan of apparently.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's
So
super
what was the
interesting.
bad take involving the giant raising? Because I know we heard one.
All right, so the bad take involving the giant racism is just like first off is just like the O'Hara's kind of his inconsistency because again like I'm not sure if it's because like he has multiple writers or if because like he's just a grifter, but a while ago he said that like we objectively know that Saul is a different race of giant than
He
this or
did
that.
say that
He
because he's from a
did,
different island.
and yet he doesn't use this as like more proof that like that is justified, like giants are racist to giants not from Elbaf because giants not from Elbaf are an objectively different race than them or something like that. He just doesn't bring that up even though that's just support
Ohara just
a
out of nowhere
thing he
kind of
said before.
conflates nationality with race, and it's like Ohara. All the giants seem to agree that they're giants.
Yeah, it seems like more like a insider outsider country thing.
Yeah, it does. Which is, that was odd of him.
Yeah.
And that's not the only Elbaf opinion O'Hara's been throwing out recently.
Ooh, what's the other one?
Well, he had a few. One is his perplexity at the Atom Tree.
Oh yeah, no, I have that written down here. So
Okay, so O'Hara is making this made this giant. I don't think he's done yet, or maybe he is. Anyway, O'Hara super theory three-parter about the history of One Piece, and he says it existed in three eras: the era where the Titans, which were supposedly ancient giants as big as like the Onigashima Skull Havers, and then the Titans were genocided by Lunarians who were called gods. And then one of the Lunarian gods felt bad and fought back and blah 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 blah. And also the four Titans, because he said there were four Titans. Also, I don't know why he calls them Titans. That's not what they're called. We're protecting the four great trees, and the four great trees are the Eve tree, the Adam
sure,
tree, the
sure.
tree of knowledge.
The one that
Okay,
only exists on O'Haran is just a fancy name for a building. What?
and the bonsai of Wano, which I don't think has ever been referenced in dialogue once.
I think it's been referenced once, and it's just like, oh, that's where the palace is. That
Oh,
giant cherry blossom tree. I think that's the one
okay.
time it was brought up. But even then, I'm not even
So,
sure. I'm kind of
yeah,
bullshitting
so
with that.
Ohara tried to argue there were four special trees, but then lo and behold, like I think 2 weeks later, um, there's a line from Saul who says, "There's Adam trees all over the world, but this is easily the biggest one." And oh no, O'Hara's theory has gone to shit.
I know he was like, "How is this even possible? It's breaking my
Wait, what does this
brain."
mean? This is crazy. It's like, no, it's not. It's a type of tree.
Yeah, it's like the Eve tree. Like the I guess like it was kind of explained that the Eve tree has roots in a bunch of places like Sabaody and then like also parts near the red line so that people can bring their bubbles up there and stuff. But like
Yeah, it's
it just seems
basically
that
the Eve tree is the same type of tree that the things in Sabaody are. Or at least that's implied.
yeah, or I think it's possible that like maybe that's the roots of the tree like going upward into
Yeah,
like
like
the
it's
that's
all one
possible.
giant
But
tree.
also like trees having saplings and growing other trees is just how trees work, so it wouldn't be surprising if they were just separate trees.
So basically, it's not crazy that there's more than one Adam tree.
Yeah, but you know what's actually really weird about that?
What?
There's another tree that he could have used in his like big mega theory thing.
Oh,
Do
what
you know what
tree?
it is? Giant Jack.
Is it the tree? No, that doesn't count. That's
Why
just a
not?
beanstalk. It's just a
But
beanstalk.
like, if you want to find like really super significant trees, then like, wouldn't that be a
No,
much
that's
better
just a
one than like?
beanstalk. Shut up. It's just big because everything in Skype is big.
Because
That
like
doesn't count.
when he talks about like the Eve and the Adam tree, it's just like okay, these are big like natural marvels that are like like have a huge effect or maybe not necessarily a huge effect, but like have some like weird properties that like can change the nature of the Onderon or like are just super valuable in and of itself. And the giant jack at least like is upholding giant eye the Verth in Skypiea and allowing Verth to exist there. So at least that's like something cool and significant that it's doing. But even that's kind of a recent event, and I'm just saying that like if you want to tie in big huge cool trees, wouldn't that have been a better pick than a building on O'Hara or the random cherry blossom in the
You
background of
know,
Wano?
it's odd. Hearts kind of does that sometimes, or like he'll just like kind of make up a headcanon and then just call it real.
Yeah.
In his most recent video, he said the three great trees, referring to the Eve, the Adam, and the tree of knowledge. It's like, come on, Laura,
Oh, so
stop
he's
doing
already
it.
he's already dropped the bonsai. He doesn't even care about it anymore.
I think he kind of always knew the bonsai was a stretch. All right, what's next?
Okay, next is we kind of talked about this before. It's just that everyone's a mythical zone because
Yes, they're fucking not.
yeah, they're not. This particular example is just funny because a lot of people were like being like, oh, dude, she's definitely a mummy. Gungo's definitely a mummy, and we know this
Or
because
like
in
some
Thriller.
fucking, or like the yokai equivalent of a
Yeah,
mummy.
and we know this because there's back in Thriller Bark, there's apparently some concept art for a mummy that may have looked something like Junko. And it's like, dude,
Gunko,
Thriller
and then you
Bark.
look at it, and the mummy from the Thriller Bark looks nothing like her.
Also, Thriller Bark was full of mummies and zombies and stuff. It was there were a ton of zombies covered in bandages and stuff because it was Thriller fucking Bark, where
Yeah,
it was
that is
spooky
a
Halloween town.
stupid point. No, no, I am overall just so happy that it's just a paramecia. Let's fucking
Yeah,
go.
and like I get like why they want it to be a mythical zone because it's easier to structure a theory around that rather than like a fun
hmm
paramecia, which is just like its own like sort of
Yeah,
isolated miscellaneous little
no,
thing.
that's kind of the problem because like I don't even hate the theory that the God's Knights will have ties to like famous monsters isn't ass yet because you even though Gunko isn't literally a mummy fruit, you can still say that's what she is like trying to invoke design wise.
Yeah,
So like I
and
would even think that theory's gone to shit yet.
And it's like it could
Um,
still be cool. 'Cause, like mummies are like typically thought of as to be like pharaohs in the tombs, and pharaohs are like kings who are considered gods or like the spokesman for
yeah, you can
gods.
do cool stuff
So
with it.
like you tie them to social dragons, that could be a fun connection. Also, none of them ever brought that up in their mummy theories because all they ever
No,
looked at were
because
the
they're lazy.
bandages.
No, also it's this is just a minor Gunko thing. I so wish she didn't have like an obvious female figure because I think it would be a lot funnier if it wasn't clear if that was a guy or not. I think that would make weekly discussions about 8 times more entertaining.
Oh yeah, it's just like what happened with
um,
Okiku. Like people were like, are we sure though? Are we
are we
sure
sure?
that's a
Am I
lady?
gay?
Are we
Am I
sure
gay?
that's a lady? Is it
There is
safe for me
nothing.
to
No,
tickle
there
my
is
pickle
nothing
tonight?
more fun than power scaling bros being worried that they're gay. There's nothing funnier.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of just like it was just them being too simplistic too, because it's fine to think that like those characters will have a thing, but thinking that they have to have the fruit is stupid. Look at like Black Maria. Black Maria is based on a yokai. She's based on a specific type of spider yokai. But her fruit isn't the mythical spider fruit model that. She has an ancient zone of a big spider, but she uses it in a way that she looks like a yokai, which is
Yeah.
just a thing that you can do with the devil fruit. You don't literally have to have that fruit to look a certain way.
Like, oh, you look at Doflamingo's crew. He doesn't have yes, Diamante with the diamond fruit and Pika with the spade fruit. No, they just
No,
have
that
them work naturally into the designs.
it's also kind of funny because you could say with Pika, he's the spade, and then his power is moving rocks and like dirt, which is like, oh, that's funny. It's like you can do stuff with it.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Next is this is another O'Hara one. The real life implications of the world government weakening the Elbaf giants.
Okay, so basically, O'Hara has this theory that the reason Elbaf's current generation is like more peaceful and the kids are like scared of swings is because the world government was uh, using its influence to convince the king to weaken his people so that the world government could take it over later. And then he said that has real world implications. It's like, O'Hara, what the fuck are you talking about?
Now, I might be wrong. Maybe there's some like example in like the Cold War or like World War II where like some country tried to do something specifically to weaken another by like putting a mole in their education system or something. Like that's possible. Maybe I don't know
No,
my
this is
history well
probably
enough.
just me being America brained, but when I hear that, all I hear is like, we're turning the army gay so that China can beat us. Like that's what that sounds
I know, like
like.
all I hear when he says is like, "Oh yeah, China's using TikTok to turn kids gay so they won't join the military." That's what I hear when O'Hara says real life implications. It would be nice if he alluded to or at least like told what
Like, no, there's a very
gave an
high
example.
chance we're wrong.
Yeah,
Be-
like if there's any
yeah.
history buffs out there, tell us about how in the Cold War, Russia sent like a plant to like this one country to weaken them or something. Like I don't know, it could be true. It's just very funny that he said that multiple times in multiple
Yeah.
videos.
No, it's
So
also just kind of weird that people think that's going to be the trajectory Elbaf goes. It's wrong that a warrior society has become more peaceful and chill. Where it's like, I don't think that's going to be the conclusion because peace is a good thing.
maybe there's gonna be a little bit of nuance where it's okay for some people to, be scholars like Saul, and some people can be cool, warrior guys like Harutagen and his pirate boys. We can have both. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, just saying civilization has fallen because um actual like the equivalent of 7-year-olds are scared when Luffy flings them hundreds of feet in the air. It's like, no, I think they're justified in that
Guys,
fear, actually.
imagine if you were on a swing set with Kaido. Would you be scared? Would you be
I'd be a
scared?
little spooked.
Would you
We
be
have Luffy's
scared?
emperor too.
What
That's
if it
fucking
was
horrifying.
what if it was Big Mom? Would you be okay if it was Big Mom? What if it was
So
Shanks?
yeah,
What if it was Shanks and his musky, stinky ass hair that he doesn't shampoo?
it the stuff with Elbath is interesting. Obviously, I don't know where it's gonna go. Obviously, Jarl is really, really fucking suspicious.
Dude, his helmet's so great.
Oh, it's awesome. Even his helmet is suspicious though, because there's a thing where it might be the king's sword, and also just the fact that the helmet seems to imply that the reason he wasn't killed is because he got hit, looked like he was dead, and then faked it.
No, 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 Shiki. That's actually a hint that he's related to Shiki, and he's like Shiki's uncle or something.
That'd be epic.
That would be epic. That would be so
Uh,
epic.
all right.
But
What's
hey,
next?
that's just a theory. Okay.
What's next?
Next is what do you think about Stabs?
Oh my god, I'm so glad we know his name now. Okay, so Shanks's brother, uncle, relative, whatever the fuck their relation is, I don't care. His name is Shamrock, but for a while people were calling him Stabs. And I get the idea conceptually, because it's like, oh, Shanks, Stabs. But Stabs sounds like shit. It sounds really bad. It sounds stupid as fuck.
Yeah, that's all
So
you
I'm
have to
so
say.
glad we're not using. No, yeah, it
Not a
just
good
sounded
sense.
like I was like before they got their names revealed, I was calling them Shanks 2 and Lilith 2.
I remember like the chat the day we learned what their name was and we were gonna look at it at a video. We were gonna be like, okay, how long till they complain that they don't like the name Shamrock and they like Stabs instead? How
It's
long? And then
5 seconds.
first video, first 5 seconds, it happened. Wow.
He's like, I don't love the name Shamrock. And the funny thing is, I feel like it was obvious he was like missing the Stabs name, but he said the dumbest thing ever. He said it feels too long. It's like, what do you mean
What do
it's
you
too
mean?
long? It's
He's a
like two
celestial
syllables.
dragon. They love long names. Don
Also,
Quixote do
it's not hard to
Flamingo.
say.
Okay. Well,
Is it
anyway,
2 syllables? I'm bad at counting syllables.
yeah. All right. Well, next is oh, we forgot about one thing for the giant racism.
Oh, what?
O'Hara also said that hybrids were revealed with the kid on Elbaf who's half human.
Oh, yeah, he's like hybrids
The rev-
revealed. It's like
I know
no.
he said the reveal of hybrids made me consider what if Luffy's part Lunarian. It's like that's not a new talking point. You're just pretending like it's a
First
new
of all,
talking
you've
point.
always been thinking about that.
Yes.
Second of all, who we've known about giants breeding with non-giants since
Long
Big
ring.
Pan the Wotan in Long Ring.
Yeah. Old news.
Yeah,
Really
and
old
it's just like
news.
logistically, why wouldn't we assume? Like we've kind of always assumed they can all breed with each other.
Yeah, because that's more fun. Also, like even within species, you get Otohime and Neptune, and somehow they can also make a kid despite the ginormous size difference.
Yeah, like mermaids can breed with non-mermaids, which is raises a lot of questions. I'm glad Oda is not answering.
Size is no object
No,
next to
that's not
love.
the problem.
That's the moral of the story
No,
here. Size is no object next to love.
no, it's just like it's not a big deal that races can breed with each other. We've kind of always both known that, and before we knew that, we kind of just like safely assumed. Like back in Fishman Island, is there a reason to think that like a woman can't fuck a fish man? No, there's no reason to think that.
But dude, what if they're like biologically just incompatible? What if that's just made in the setting, huh?
Like that was like the possibility, but I kind of didn't believe it, and then it was revealed that yeah, no, you can kind of just intermingle. Shocking.
Yeah, no, not really
Isn't
shocking at
Jack
all
is
given the
Jack half
tone.
fishman or is he full fishman?
I'm not sure we know actually.
Let me check. Oh, he is he. Oh, it seems like he's just full fishman. Interesting.
Huh, Neato burrito.
All right. Because Jack, due to his skin tone, looks so human. I was like, oh, maybe he's a half breed.
Hold on a sec, my dog's barking.
Okay, I will wait. You know, I was shocked. I was shocked when Jack got revealed to be a fish man because he just doesn't look like one. He has the most like human skin tone ass skin. Good for Jack. I guess it could be revealed whenever that he's only half fish man because I don't think that would really change anything. Either you have gills or you don't. Although getting more Jack reveals later implies Jack is coming back, which is a pretty exciting thing to assume.
Oh, Bucky, why you gotta be a noisy boy? Okay, what are we talking about?
We just finished talking about hybrids and how yeah, no shit, there's hybrids.
Yeah, okay, so I guess we could get back to Stabs now, my favorite new character, Stabs. Did you know that his name, or sorry, his fake name, Shamrock, his lame one, Shamrock, implies that he's actually in a set of triplets?
Okay, so O'Hara did some digging, and he realized
this
that
is just
sometimes
a horror reaction
no,
now.
we're just making fun of O'Hara, which is okay. He deserves it. Where he pointed out that sometimes shamrocks are associated with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and we immediately and the thing I immediately said is, "Oh, is that Garling, Shamrock, and Eam or something?" And then O'Hara said, "No, no, no. Because his name is Shamrock, that imply, and the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, that somehow implies that he's a triplet, which doesn't make sense because it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So one would have to be a dad, and one would have to be a son. So that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. Also, would that mean that the other triplets also have names that imply they're in a set of three? Like,
Even though that's not what Shanks's name
well, I
is.
mean, Shanks has like been ostracized or orphaned somehow, so maybe
Oh,
that's
you're
not the name he
saying,
was
oh,
given at
maybe that's
birth or
not his real
whatever.
name.
Yeah, maybe that's not his real name or whatever. Oh my god, he's barking again. Oh my god.
Goodbye. What's interesting is Garling's name. I'm pretty sure is like German. Wait, check. Um, Garling. Well, I guess you know there's kind of the funny thing of Garling, like the plant.
Yes, the garnish.
Yeah, which uh, it's kind of funny. So you got a shamrock. Isn't there a plant called a Garling? Or
There's
am I thinking of
garlic.
something else? No, I'm
Garlic?
thinking of something else. My bad. No, I was thinking of something else. I'm being a dumbass. Um, no, just the name theorists I think are having a hard time with Garling and Shamrock. They're like, what's the smoothest connection we can make between these two?
I think it's
Oh,
just like
speaking of Garling Puff, did you know that he, Ohm, and Vergo are all parallels because they're stoic guys with sunglasses?
oh right, yeah, who was it Morgie said that?
That was Morge, because who else would say something like that? Which is hilarious because Morge in a previous video said that the parallel was Satori, Virgo, and Saturn because
Saturn.
they were all the members of the organizations who lost before the like actual like big fighting
Yeah,
started.
they were the
But
Raditz. They're supposed to
now,
be
but
Raditz.
now it's Ohm, Virgo, and Garling because they're all the strongest boys with sunglasses. Even though like all of those are assumptions, like Ohm seems to be the strongest, but we don't really know. Um, Vergo is probably the strongest if you ignore like wanky Pika scaling, and then Garling is like probably, but also Warcury is a tanky bitch. So what do I know?
Top tier durability in the verse is Warcury right now. Like it's
It
official.
is. It's like
Right
that's a
now.
pretty
Right
good.
now, right
Yeah,
now, right now the second, it's Warcury. Maybe Emmett. Maybe him, but like not
yeah, he's
like
pretty tanky too.
yeah, either
Um,
him or Emmett.
yeah, yeah. So it's just fun. Morge loves using parallels, fast and loose to prove whatever the fuck he wants. It's
Yeah.
so annoying. So what's next?
Okay, next is Sandman is lying.
Oh, so this is old drama. We're very sorry. We're very late to it. Sandman was beefing with some other leaker, so they're both annoying to me because they leak things. But basically, Sandman um, just said something that's very obviously not true. Someone was like, "Hey, Sandman, how come like we don't see like these beautiful spreads like Skypiea much anymore?" Which I don't even know what that means. But then Sandman said, "Oh, that's simple. Oda didn't draw them," and it was like, "Huh? He did it." And
What?
his reasoning is that Oda said, my background artists draw things that are static, like mountains and trees, and I draw stuff that moves, like waves. And Sandman's like, thus, all of these giant spreads where something's not moving, Oda didn't draw them, which I don't believe. Like, honestly, his assistants definitely helped. I'm not gonna be an idiot. But come on, what are we doing?
It's like if you went through the story and like went to each like okay what's static and what's not. Then it's like oh every landscape was not drawn by Oda. Like you know when you go to Zone you be the big landscape of the whale, that's not Oda. When you see the big landscape of Dressrosa, that's not
I
Oda.
feel like
When
there's
you
a
see
pretty yeah, I think there's a pretty clear difference between I don't draw static backgrounds and this page where there is no background, it's only the page. No, Oda didn't draw any of that. It's like, what are we doing?
there's only one page, one 2 pages in the whole story that Oda's assistants didn't touch. It's the spread where Blackbeard says people's dreams never die. That was the only
Yeah.
time it was just Oda. None of his assistants went in there, except actually they did because the bottle on the ground that that
He's
Black
not
was at
moving, thus
Blackbeard's
Oda
feet.
didn't draw it.
Yeah, so I am kind of lying with that one, but it was mostly Oda, guys. Trust me, okay?
Just goofy. It's also just funny to like try and act like we know anything about each mangaka's exact process with their assistants.
Because
Like we
all
know
we
some
can know
mangaka
is what they tell us.
Yeah, because we know some mangaka pretty heavily rely on their assistants, like Fujimoto with Chainsaw Man, where every once in a while you'll see the most detailed background of all time, and you're like, oh, good job, assistant. um, and then you have someone like Horikoshi who regularly talks about how he feels bad because when he decides to make a complex background, he's like, me and my assistants are going to be working on this all fucking week. So like he kind of lets in how it goes for him, and all that is interesting. But just come on, don't. Why? Well, it's because Sandman is just like a fucking rage baiter or like an interaction baiter. He'll say random things like whenever for the sole sake of getting interactions. I'm pretty
Mm,
sure he doxed Oda once. I don't even know if that was fake or real, but either way, that wasn't good.
that's fun. That's fun.
um, yeah. So there's that. What's next?
Next. Major spoilerinos for Planet Hulk coming up in this next section. It's a really cool comic book. Movie version's fine. If you just want to see Hulk be a gladiator for an hour and a half, like, you know, that's cool. But all the cool stuff is in the comics, so I recommend you read that. Next is, dude, Planet Hulk is so cool. I like Planet Hulk.
Hey, that's not relevant.
What do you mean it's not? Luffy's the Scarson now.
Shut up. It's
He's the
so annoying.
Scarson.
God, shut up, shut up,
I,
shut up,
I I love that
shut up.
the Scarson's such a great idea. Like he's a great creator and destroyer, just like the Hulk in Planet Hulk and how he's the Scarson.
Shut up.
But also that it was just a like you know there's a lot of different interpretations for what the Scarson is because people who were in power and being oppressive dipshits would of course fear him as a destroyer. Well, people who like you know were being liberated would like praise him as a creator and like a liberator and a hero and all that. And also like how some people in the religious texts say that like you know the Scarson is just like we're all the Scarson in a way because all people have the potential for creation and destruction and it's up to
Hey, that's
us
Randy Troy's theory. That's Randy
and it's
Troy's
up
theory.
to
And
no
no,
it's not
Blind
no it's
reviews
not
theory.
no
By
it's
the
fucking
fucking
not
way.
no it's fucking not this is cool no not in the sense that like we all have magical green Hulk powers in the sense that like we have to from when you read this religious text you're supposed to take away
Oh
from
my
it that
god, why are we still
you
talking about
that
Hulk?
that that
We're just
you
gonna make fun of O'Hara again. Can we just skip
that
to that?
you have the potential for creation and destruction and it's your choice to choose which one
Wow,
and
that's
also
super fucking interesting.
what else was I about to say? You got me off track with all your interrupting.
Good.
Fuck, what was I gonna
You're
say?
off track. This is a One Piece video.
Well, but I want Planet Hulk's so cool though.
I don't care. Make a
And there's
Planet
this
Hulk
one
video
character in
on
Planet
the
Hulk
main
who's this
channel.
Bugman who's friends with Hulk now. He's one of
Shut
Hulk's friends on the same planet. And it's like, oh, he's the
that.
Scarce because he saved his own people, but also had to mercy kill their last queen. So in a sense,
Oh.
he was a great destroyer to them and a great creator. And like we're all the Scarce. It's so cool, guys. Planet Hulk's such a
Sure.
good comic book. There's this
Well,
one scene
anyway.
where Hulk
Oh my
pulls the
god, you need
the
someone needs
planet's
it.
about to split apart, like
Oh
the
my, yeah,
tectonic plates are splitting
if they
apart,
want to
and then
replanet
Hulk
Hulk, you should
grabs
spoil the
them.
whole comic. That's a good
He
idea.
grabs the tectonic plates, and it says,
Jesus
"Today the
Christ.
world breaker unbreaks the world," and it was the coolest thing ever.
Wow,
It
Puff.
was so
Well,
great.
now I don't want to read it because I feel like you spoiled the best part. But
No,
anyway,
I didn't.
um,
Hulk has sex, and that's the best part.
Puff. The only reason Puff thought of any of that is because O'Hara is bad at reading. So as we learned, according to giant mythology, the world has ended twice, and Nika always appears when the world is about to have a great change, which kind of implies we've had two Nika in the past, which we already kind of figured because there's Joy Boy and then like Nika, so like that kind of matches what we already assumed. But then O'Hara came in and said there's been tons of Nikas, and some were great destroyers, and some were great creators, and it's like I don't think that's what was being said.
That
Because like
strikes me as he read the spoilers and didn't have the whole
maybe.
story.
But the thing is he makes his videos like after the scans come out, so that's weird. Um no, so basically just it's the thing Puff was yapping about. It seems more like Nika as a large religious figure that different groups believe in, has had many different interpretations and understandings over the years. It was even outright stated that both Loki and King Harold, in a way, wanted to become sun gods. And that could be and as the start of Elbaf showed us, maybe that's what some of the ideas of bad sun gods are. Road, posing as a sun god, was being a little fucking maniac on his Lego island.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the implication is that in trying to become the sun god, some people do some pretty fucking unhinged evil shit to make it happen. And because I'm not a fucking Thor nerd, I thought of Azor Ahai and A Song of Ice and Fire, which is also very similar, where there's like a million interpretations of what
What
the
do you mean
fuck
a
it actually
Thor
means.
nerd? I'm a Hulk nerd.
Oh, sorry, I say Hulk, my bad. I'm sorry. So yeah, that's all. Puff just wanted to yap about Hulk instead of making a main channel video, I guess.
Well, listen, I'm not that into comics. Over, I haven't read that many Hulk. I read like less than 10, but they're all great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hulk's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Immortal Hulk's the
Mm-hmm.
best one. I like that one a
Mm-hmm.
lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's it. Just the stuff about the Nikas historically is interesting because it seems like there were definitely two, and the rumors of him being a great destroyer and creator. I think the main one is just kind of the Absol effect in Pokemon, where he's here when everything goes to shit. Are you gonna blame him, call it a coincidence, or say he's here to save it?
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
which one do you
in
think?
all likelihood, it's that like Nika arose in response to world-ending threats, and then
Yeah, it seems. Yeah, that's why I said the Absol effect, because Absol's actual thing is that he shows up because he can sense a storm and wants to help.
yeah.
But then people see him, they're like, "You little shit, you brought the storm."
Also, I do just imagine the whole great creator, great destroyer thing is just going to be like people who were in power and like being corrupt little dipshits hated Nika for freeing their slaves, and then all the slaves liked Nika, so you get two different sides of the story
Or
just
even
from that
just like
alone.
or even just people blaming Nika. Or as like a lot of people pointed out, it's possible Joy Boy wasn't perfect and may have also misused the ancient weapons.
Yeah, that's possible.
So there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
But I don't think it's implied there's been like 500 fucking awakened
Yeah, I know, because
Nika
like the
fruit
thing is, they
users.
said that the fruit hasn't awakened since for like 1,000 years.
Joy
Yeah, for
Since Joy Boy is the implication.
yeah, but like
So
I
I
think
guess
we
the battle
got
between Nika and
didn't we
Joy
get a
Boy, there
number
was like
though?
500.
Didn't we get a number
Did we get a
though?
number?
Like a
We
number of
may have.
years? Well,
We may have. I don't
I'm gonna
care.
check real quick because I think it was like
Okay.
all right, it was like
Just check.
I think it was like 1,044 that he went gear for the first time,
That's
right?
that sounds close.
Warrior of Liberation. Yes, this is the one. Okay. I told you, always been eliminated. No one for 800 years. So yeah, it has been since the Void Century, which we all assume. Yeah, Joy Boy was in the Void
Joy Boy.
Century.
We
So
assume
like,
that's what that's talking about.
yeah. So like, maybe there was some before Joy Boy, but like, 500 of them. Like, I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna go that route. I don't think we're gonna
Or
get
just
explore the
whatever
lives of
number you want to
500
make up.
Nikas.
It's just whatever, because it seems like there weren't that many.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Alrighty, Rooney. Next is okay, this is like an old theory that's like, kind of just popped up again. It's the white hair and red eyes are just significant and it's all connected and it's all Nika mode.
So there's some interesting stuff there. Like the Sulong, look at the moon instead of the sun, and also activate a mode where they turn pure white, get red eyes, and get a physical buff. It's like, okay, it's dying. That's kind of like Nika,
Yeah.
without the magic rubbery stuff. But like that's similar, and they have ties to the Kozuki, so there's something there. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the Seraphim, who not the Seraphim, the Lunarians, who we only know one. We know one, and they have red eyes and white hair, which is like, oh, that might be something. And
Yeah.
then we start to push it a bit because we get to the Fishman drugs, who they get red eyes and white hair, except the red eyes is because they're taking drugs, and the white hair is because it rapidly ages them,
Yeah.
which is like not quite the same thing.
Well, like again,
Like people,
Hody didn't get it until he took so much that he was destined to become a decrepit old man. So like,
yeah,
eh,
like it was a side effect. Like you could point out, well, oh, Luffy looked like an old man after using Gear 5, and it says that the Minks will fight themselves to death, but that's not quite the same as literally aging. Because Luffy didn't actually turn old; he unaged. He's being funny. He was showing that he was tired, and the Minks seems closer to like Gear 2, where you're just like fucking destroying your body. Whereas Hody is old now. Hody
yeah.
is now old.
Honestly, there's a ton of powers in the setting that are just like I'm gonna use up a ton of stamina and energy, and then like maybe cut off a bit of my lifespan to do a really cool thing, like Law's giant room. Robin absorbs a lot of stamina when she goes into her demon mode thing. You could find them
Yeah,
all
a
over the
lot of
place,
interesting.
honestly.
So like there could be connections there, but sometimes people force it a little. And then of course, if you're Randy Troy, and I guess Grand Line Review now, you think anyone can activate Nika mode. And the proof of that is Minx can by looking at the moon or eating Tropper's drugs. Um, Lunarians are just born that way, I guess. I guess they're born with the Nika in them. Luffy did it through awakening his fruit. Bonnie did it because her fruit literally lets her alter her appearance and form based on a future she imagines. And the fishermen and presumably anyone can do something similar by destroying themselves with stupid magic drugs. Now, what's the connection here, and how does that prove anyone can become Nika? It doesn't, is the
You
thing.
don't need gamma radiation to be a Scarson. The
Shut up.
Scarson is within you. It is up to you to turn him into a creator and a destroyer
So
when
basically,
necessary.
just I still don't like the theory that everyone can activate a Nika form by just being free enough or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, and
I
like
don't think
if
that's
that is
fun.
true, could Roger just do it? Because Roger's the freest man on the sea.
Yeah,
If he
why
couldn't do it,
didn't Roger do it? Is he stupid?
if he couldn't do it, then who can?
Yeah, is
Right?
Roger dumb? Is Roger a dumbass?
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right. Next is dude. Do you know who's the only Straw Hat who had a normal school life?
Brooke,
Yes.
presumably. Maybe Jinbei too.
There was a very cute line where Brooke said, "Oh, this reminds me of my school days," and then that made me realize, wait a second, none of the Straw Hats have like had a normal school life, have
Yeah,
they?
because in order, Luffy grew up in the woods and was taught how to read by, I guess, Makino, pirates, and bandits. Good for him. I don't
Yeah,
think the
like
artist did
maybe
anything
once or
fancy.
twice a
I don't
month
believe
he'd
this
ask
guy.
them, "Can you read this form?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, sure." And then that's why
No,
he
like,
can't read 1 billion.
no, like, I fully believe Luffy is mostly illiterate.
Yeah,
I
he's
love that
borderline
theory.
illiterate.
I love that theory. Like Luffy can barely read numbers. Luffy thought his bounty went down. So I liked him. No, I like that theory because the point is it got shortened and they added a word. So like Luffy could read his bounty when it was all numbers, but once they started adding words, he didn't know what it said, which I think is really funny because it implies he can't read. um, and he always makes Robin read the newspaper to him because he can't fucking read. Anyway, I love that theory. Zoro was probably taught like basic literacy in his village. Same with Usopp. Usopp, Zoro, and Nami seem to be from the whole like it takes a village to raise a kid thing. So all of the villagers kind of like collectively raise the kids, so they all have like enough literacy and like math comprehension to like function.
But like, it didn't seem like that there was like any sort of like school or
Oh no,
academia
it
that
didn't
was like
seem
in
like there was an
place.
actual school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of just like old rural. Probably some old lady in the village teaches you how to fucking read. Sanji, I assume Zet like Judge probably
We
neglected
saw
Sanji a
no no
bit.
we saw him like in a classroom a few times
Yeah,
with like judging the other kids, but like
but
that
he
didn't last very
wasn't
long
there
though.
very long.
That's the problem. It didn't
And
last
then
very long.
I'm sure Zeph made sure Sanji was good enough at math and reading and speaking to, be a fucking busser.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Sanji needs to be able
Taught
to
him how to
know how
count
much.
change, taught him how to read a menu.
Taught him how to write a menu. Taught him how to make sure they get the right amount of fucking potatoes. He taught him that, presumably. Chopper is probably one of the most
Homeschooled.
well-educated Straw Hats. He was just homeschooled.
Homeschooled.
Same with Robin. Robin was also homeschooled.
Well, I mean, like, I guess not because, like, she did go to the library to learn, and it was more like a community of scholars, like, gave
You're
her
right. Yeah, it was
super
it was
great
close.
education for,
Yeah,
like,
it was
three
more like a
years. And
yeah,
then
it was more like a better version of what presumably Zoro and Nami got.
like she got to be in an academic space and then got to learn from them for like 2 years before they all died, and then she had to be an orphan for the rest of her
Yeah.
life.
Whoops. Frankie, he grew up with pirates for a lot of his adolescence, and I get the feeling they didn't teach him much. And then they dumped his ass, and
Yeah,
then Tom found him.
so like
And
I guess
Tom
like
is,
Tom,
a shipwright. So Frankie has to know how to do math and read because he has to be able to read and make blueprints.
yeah, he learned to be a skilled tradesman, but like that doesn't get you a normal school life. That's not a normal school
No,
life.
he was raised by pirates and then raised by Tom. So, about as literate as that can be. Brooke seemed to live a normal life before he became a soldier, so it seems like he just did go to school. Good for
Yeah,
Brooke.
yeah, good job, Brooke. You went
And
to
then
high school and
Jinbei's
everything.
iffy because, like, I guarantee Fishman Island. Well, we know Fishman Island does have schools, but Jinbei was from like a shitty part of town,
Yeah, the
so it's
Fishman
unclear if
district.
he had school. We know he had karate classes when he was little because we saw that picture of him, but we don't know if he actually had like a particularly formal education.
Yeah.
He's the second most likely,
He
though.
strikes me as the type that like would have gotten an education like after his 20s.
Oh, like gone out of his way to. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds accurate.
Yeah.
And
So
that's it. Just
yeah,
Straw
Brooke's the
Hats didn't go
only
to
one who
school.
went to high school. That's the point of this
The
story.
Straw Hats didn't go to school, baby. um, what's next?
All right, next is so do you remember that Shonen Oji video we saw yesterday?
Oh, yeah. Someone asked us to watch Shonen Oji's new One Piece art style video. So we watched both of his One Piece art style videos, and I want to stop
I'm
watching
glad
them
he's
because
having fun with this topic. He seems he's having fun with this topic.
yeah, you start nice because oh my no, I told Puff this. We can't do a Shonen Oji live react because I will be too mean. He gets me too mad. And the reason for that is because this is a man who will not only does he not substantiate his claim, he contradicts himself repeatedly. Like he said that early One Piece was less cartoony than like Skypiea One Piece, and then he shows Luffy with like fucking giant ham hands, and it's like look at that cartoony ass little shit.
Do you not see the size of his eyes? Does that not look cartoony
Do you
to
not
you?
see his like? I think or like he points out that early One Piece had really thick outlining, which I think adds to the cartoon aesthetic because they just makes them look more cartoony because their outlines are so
Hey
thick.
Shiki, who's the second person Luffy punched?
What you mean? What Alvida?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's a
she looks
cartoon
insane.
character.
Yeah,
She's
yes,
wider
she
than
is.
she is tall. That's a cartoon
And
character.
then like he tries to point out that Dalton is more cartoony than Axan Morgan. And he is in certain ways. Dalton has a less realistic face, but also Axan Morgan has a fucking axe shoved into his fucking arm.
And it comes out of his shoulder, out of his elbow, and like a weird stump, and it's like that looks like he literally just crammed an axe into where his hand should be.
Yeah,
Like
or like
he
his
didn't just put an axe blade on his hand. It looks like he shoved a whole axe and handle up to his shoulder.
which is cartoonish because that's not how that fucking works. He's great. I love him. And then other thing Shonoji points out, he does a lot of inconsistency. Like there's another when he compares pre and post time skip. Like he says he compares the chapter 100 color spread to the chapter 1000 color spread. And he's right. The colors do pop more in the chapter 1000, but he doesn't
Yes.
explain it right. Like he says the colors are brighter, but that's not quite it. It's that the colors contrast each other more. In the chapter 100 color spread, the Straw Hats have like a yellowish skin, and there's a bunch of golds, and the sky's yellow, so it all kind of meshes together. Whereas in the chapter 1000, all the Straw Hats have more like pinkish red skin. The gold is a darker shade of yellow, and the sky's a lighter shade of yellow. So because they're all different, they contrast each other and pop more. He doesn't say this. He says the yellows are brighter and the colors are brighter. Whoopie fucking do.
Wowie zowie. What a great
No, also
analysis.
he just he'll point at like Luffy's foot in Snake Man and be like, "This foot doesn't look like a very real foot." And then because I'm a dick, you can find these buffs because they should still be in. Yep, they're still in general chat. I grabbed some hands from chapter 2 and then a random chapter of Skypiea. And Puff, please put the fucking Sanji from Skypiea.
Yeah,
What
look
the
at his hands.
fuck is
Look at
wrong
his
with his
hands.
hand?
One of those hands is much bigger than the other, and it's also further into the background than it. So like that just doesn't make sense.
It also just
If you
doesn't
wanna
look like a
nitpick,
hand.
yeah, if you wanna nitpick, like, oh my god, look at the tiny little details when you zoom in. What the fuck is this? Ugh. Like I remember while
Yeah.
we were doing this in the video, we took these pictures of like the Luffy versus Katakuri fight that was on his screen, and I was just like, look at Katakuri here. Look this pic for ants.
He's so
Look at his
small.
pic. Is
Because
that
the
supposed to
point
be an
is,
arm? Is that supposed to be a head? What's going
yeah.
on?
Because the problem is, yes, art will always look bad when you focus on the part that isn't the focus of the drawing. Because in the Snake Man panel, the most important thing is Luffy's fist, which then guides you to his hair and his body. And it's like, oh, Luffy looks crazy. The thing that's the smallest and like the thing getting the least focus is his right foot. So of course his right foot has the least detail. And again, you can do this like with like literally any page of any manga ever. There's going to be the things that have the most focus and the things that have the least focus. That's how fucking art works. Um,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
then
like,
he does something fucking hilarious. He does two kind of rat things. The first is not bad. He might just be stupid. He points to like a thumb in a recent Elbaf chapter, and he's like, "Look, the thumb looks kind of bad." And you can even see that like the out like one of the finger lines overrides the thumb in a way it shouldn't.
yeah,
And what he like I guess doesn't realize is that's because this isn't a volume release, and that would probably get cleaned up in a volume release.
yeah, because that's what they do with
Yeah,
volume
and
release.
then the thing he did that I think is very rat-like is when he starts talking about how One Piece art isn't great at this section. Like he literally shows like this really high quality Snake Man, and then when he starts talking about how the art isn't very good, he pulls out like day one scans that are blurry as fuck, and like the what is it the dark value whatever the fuck it's called looks like
The black
shit.
point. Yeah, I know.
The black
The
looks
black
like shit.
point
Like
is
you
always
rat.
so high on the early scans. Like, I literally, I feel like you can go take it, download onto your phone, go into the photo app, and just like put the black point down, and it'll look a little bit closer to what would actually be in a manga
Yeah.
volume. Like a
So
little bit,
basically,
not completely,
he
because like again, the resolution is still
yeah
lower than it would be like
bad.
that. You can't save the black point just by artificially, reworking it in your phone. But like it will like resemble a manga volume a tad bit more if you do that.
Okay. So basically, just he's still not good at proving his point. And then also with paneling, he does the thing he always does, where he zooms in too much, so you can't see the full page. And then he'll just be like, "This is bad," and it's like, "Why?" Oh, I forgot. In when he's talking about the East Blue, he says early One Piece's paneling isn't that good. It's just squares and
Squares and
rectangles.
rectangles. That was the note I had here.
And then I was like, "What the fuck is?" And then
You
what's
see,
weird
Oda
is whenever
only evolved in Punk Hazard when he used triangles in that one big spread. Those
But you
three
know what else is
triangles when it
weird?
was La,
Whenever,
like Smoker and
whenever
Luffy.
he shows like bad paneling in One Piece, he shows whenever Oda does something different. Like, oh, he's using triangles, he's using weird trapezoids, he's doing something unique. This is when he says it's messy and bad, and it's like, why? What's bad about it? And he never explains. Like he showed Shura stabbing Chopper or stabbing Gonfall and Chopper's reaction, and he's like, this is clearly not very good. It's like, why? You don't substantiate your claim. This looks great to me because like Shura is constantly like framed in the top half of the page, and Gonfall's constantly portrayed in the bottom half, so it like shows his like gradual descent. And Chopper is like lower than Shura but higher than Gonfall, which is like that makes sense. And also it just flows normally. Or like he showed a panel he showed Naruto panel too where he's like, and this is clearly not very good either. It's like, why? You need to substantiate your
I
claim.
know it's the thing. Like when you talk about JJK versus One Piece paneling, you said, "Oh, look at the paneling here," and it's just a splash spread of oh, what's his name?
Skuna like
Skuna,
cutting
just cutting
Mahito.
it. Yeah, and it's just like, okay. are you gonna bring up that this is a splash page or that it's a fun turn page or a page turn? I mean, are you gonna talk about what comes before and after it? No, he doesn't, because I think his idea of good paneling is a lack of paneling, where he doesn't
Yeah,
care
the
about
less
what.
panels, the better.
Yeah, that seems to be his MO, or at least that's what I have to assume, because he doesn't really express himself in a clear
No,
way.
it's so annoying too because like his biggest thing on his channel is these art comparison videos, and he'll bring up like a good point sometimes, but generally it's either like nonsense, like the color spread comparisons where he doesn't make sense, or it's just like he won't substantiate his claim, or sometimes he'll do like shocker cherry picking, like he compared Luffy kicking Crocodile to Luffy. I think it was Luffy punching Crocodile to Luffy punching Arlong, and the crocodile punch did have more weight to it, but when he explains why, he says it's because it's more detailed. You can see the detail of Crocodile's face and like his hair and his cheek. And then with the Arlong one, it just focuses on the impact, which is true, but it's like really surface level. Because what's actually going on is in the crocodile panel, you can see the follow through. You see the side of Crocodile's face turn, so you see the full thing, and then you also see Luffy's foot or fist, whatever it was, also follow through. So like the impact is more clear. And then with the Arlong one is you just see Arlong's face go up from the back. So you just see this chin rise and you see like an aggressive impact bubble. So it is less intense, but he doesn't really explain why. Also, he then later shows an East Blue panel of Luffy kicking Buggy, and it does the exact same follow through of the Crocodile panel. So he's already fucked up his Alabasta better than East Blue comparison.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's.
Or
I'm
like
so
another one that
glad that like Werb
or
exists as
another
a
one they
thing.
didn't fuck up, but he didn't do great is he compared Luffy punching Bellamy both times. And he brought up some good things like, oh, Bellamy's line art is like thicker and kind of like distorted when he gets punched, which yes, it does make it more impactful. But another big one that he doesn't bring up that's really obvious is like the impact lines are literally bigger the second time. Like they come up farther. So it is literally a more violent impact. Annoying. I think that's all I have to
Dude, you
say
should
for.
make these videos instead. You do a better job.
I would, but I also am not going to because I'm also not nearly good enough.
That's why
No, I
we have
openly admit this is not my fucking
Werb.
forte. All I did is read an article on like the manga tease and how that helps your eyes follow the action. It's like, oh, that's true.
And this is
um,
this is a great thing about Werb, is that like, when he's editing a video to do this, he will show the full page, then like, do like curved lines to show you this is where the eye follow, or like this is how this flows to this, or he'll like, he'll like rarely isolate certain panels, whereas OG's just like scrolling, like full screen scrolling top to bottom, or like just having a static image of the one picture. And it's like that doesn't like that's not the best way to explain. I get that, like, again, he's making like 2 videos a week, so it's like his editing's not going to be super detailed, unfortunately. But if you want to
yeah.
talk about this and your words aren't enough and your editing is also lacking, then there's not a whole lot to appreciate, I think.
Also, these were videos he said he prepped for because he said for the it's a two-parter, and for part one he reread all of pre time skip, and for part two he read all of post time skip. So like, it seems pretty clear that he is willing to put time into these.
Oh no,
So
someone's making noise.
okay, I will wait. So yeah, Shonen Oji is really bad at making YouTube videos. Like the thing is
Unfortunately.
like I want to call him. He's not a straight up grifter. Like clearly he's on that fucking grind. But I don't want to call him a straight up grifter because he clearly makes videos about stuff he's interested in. Like he
Yeah.
talks about Soul Eater and Fire Force way more than other channels because he likes it.
And I don't think he's like, oh, he's not, definitely not like an O'Hara or a Morge. It's just like,
No.
I think it's just like he wants to talk about things he's interested in, but like because but within that scope, he is on the grind set, or like I guess like
Yeah.
I should say like within the grind set, he wants to focus on stuff that interests
Yeah,
him.
so he like stretches himself too thin, or he'll come up with like a interesting video idea but doesn't really say anything, like how to like his Bleach how to write perfect female characters video, where he kind of didn't really say anything,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. Now,
Dude, female characters are good when they're good. They're
yeah,
good when they're
I think
good.
if he got the time to like actually make like a very long extended video about a topic he likes, he would make a pretty good video.
He could,
But he
yeah,
doesn't really give himself that time, so we won't know unless he changes his so we won't know
style.
unless he changes his style. So
Yeah.
oops. What's next, or is that all the big ones?
All right, that is actually all the big ones.
Okay, that's fine. We have a lot of comments.
But there's one more left.
Oh, what is it?
Melante's reaction to Shamrock is the funniest thing, man.
She's so funny.
Washes his ass, washes his hands, shampoos his hair. Shanks is a
It is
bum next to this man. This prince.
great, great. Yeah, no, that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
All right, and then now comments. Hooray! I'll start at the
Woohoo!
bottom and move my way up. All right, we have the Daffy Duck. Remember, a lot of these are going to be about Saul, so that's fun.
Yay.
Basically, he said, I disagree that Saul's survival makes the emotional anchor of the backstory weaker because for me, the sadness of Robin losing Saul is just recontextualized into the realization that Saul was out of there all this time and still couldn't So basically, he's saying that, like, Saul being out there and not being able to contact Robin is just as much of a sad gut punch as Saul being dead, which is like, if you feel that way,
That's
that's fine.
actually
Like,
true. Like you just imagine, like Saul, like for all those for a few years, probably did had no idea what happened to Robin.
yeah, so like I think that's fine because like I can't argue with your emotions. If those are equally tragic to you, that's good for you.
Yeah, that's good.
And then someone pointed out something that like Dory, Pell, and uh, Conus's dad surviving actually kind of did affect the story positively because it made Ace's death like a bit more shocking. It's like, oh my god, he actually fucking killed one.
Yeah, that's a good. I like
Like,
again. I'd
I'm
say like
not
with
super happy about that because I still think Pell should have
yeah.
died.
No, I
I
think
don't think
Pearl should.
Dory was ever. I didn't think Dory was dead.
Dory. People thought
And I
Dory was dead. What? When?
no, remember how Broggy thought he killed Dory?
Oh right. Yeah. Okay. I remember now.
I wasn't convinced by that. I guess basically, and then Conus's dad. Who cares? Let him live. Let that old man hang
I
out with
know,
his daughter. Damn
literally,
it.
like, I don't think it would have been very sad or added any real stakes to the arc if he did die. Like, honestly, the
No.
gag of him coming back is worth way more than anything you get out of his death. I'm gonna say
Hey
that with
guys,
right
it's
now.
me. Oh yeah. Oh, Dory getting up and Broggy's face is one of the funniest like early One Piece early post 100. But it's such an he's fucking baffled. All right, and then all right, here we go. This is the Donald Duck guy again. I defend Pell and Pound because I think fake outs in general are part of the series' core themes, miracles. I am gonna have a problem with that because I really wish Pound was dead. All right, back in 1998, Oda described how he wants his story to be one that makes people cry from happiness instead of sadness. In one of his earliest interviews, Oda revealed that he prefers scenes that evoke emotion without killing off characters, stating when he watched Nausicaa, he thought it was cool to move people. Um, so the theme is about wanting people to move without killing them. Killing someone seems like an easy way out, but if the story naturally leads to it, then it can't be helped. Okay, and then I think the interactions you guys mentioned in regards to Pell isn't gone slash means nothing when you're rereading those chapters, but serves the same function as what Mords missed when he brought up the drama of death seems. They're meant to stoke your desire for the character to live, so when they do, the joy from them living is stronger. That's why you can't fake out every death. Okay, I don't agree with that because with Pell, straight up, the thing is like I don't like or care about Pell, and also it's not like he gets a happy reunion with like Vivi and Chaka.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no, he
yes,
doesn't.
he made it.
We
He
skip
just
over
it's
that.
just revealed he's alive as like a fucking footnote, and then we see him in a hot spring. So I don't get the happiness of him being revealed to be alive. I get the emotional weight of him dying, and then just kind of just a cheap, oh hey look, he's actually alive. Whereas
And
like with
now,
Saul's,
like,
I do get the happiness of him being
no,
alive.
like again, the problem with Pell will always be now. Whenever I reread his death, I will feel nothing because all right, this is like a well executed scene, but also they're playing up the emotions too much for what this actually is now. Whereas, like, I can't
No,
say the same for Saul because at least I know Saul is gonna have consequences on Robin and his life for the next like 20, 30 years. So, like,
mhm.
yeah,
No,
that
and I
still
think
works. Pell does
uh,
not. I don't think it
no, I
does.
think it brings up an interesting enough point, which is the character showing they're willing to die can also be emotional, which I agree. I think a great example of that is Bon Clay. I don't care that Bon Clay is alive because Bon, even though they didn't die, Bon went into a fight he was basically guaranteed to lose, and even though he didn't die, he still gave up his freedom. He's been stuck and impelled down for 2 years. So like even though he didn't die, it's still Bond showing he's willing to give up his life and his dream because his dream was to be with Eva or not like be on New Kama Queendom or whatever for Luffy. So like I think it still has the same effect. or like even then, like I could even like forgive it if Pell's revival was like so emotional. I kind of don't give a shit. Like that's why I'm not mad about like Lizana in Fairy Tale because her reuniting with Elfman and Mira is so emotional. I kind of don't care that
Yeah,
she
no, the
doesn't
thing
do
is,
anything.
I at this point I only dislike it just because it's like the outlier. Just like, okay, well, why did she
Yeah.
not die?
And then Pounds is similar to me, where like Pounds, at least they do try to do an emotional he meets his family again thing, but it just that one just didn't work for me. I'm trying to think about why.
Is
Maybe
it
it's
because it was
because
in
of
a
like
because it was in a cover story, maybe? So
that could
like you don't
definitely
get
be
like a
part of it. So like the emotional weight was way fucking lower. Also, it was kind of treated comedically too. Like, whoa, our dad. It's like, come on. He kind of made a joke out of what I thought was in a very, very emotional death scene. And also, even I don't even agree with the whole. Oh well, Oda tries to avoid using death for emotions. Like he is very good at that. But also, even if he kept Pell and Pound dead, that's still barely any deaths. It's
yeah.
still not the majority of his series. And then last, I see this as no different from something like Dofi seemingly being defeated by Leo Bazooka as everyone cheers for him. You wouldn't say those panels lost their meaning when you know Dofi gets back up. Same with Law hitting him with Gamma knife. Okay, no, but the point is that the triumph is like you can get like, oh, it's just so hype. Luffy's such a badass because he is, and then the tragedy of, oh no, he fucked up. Dofi's gonna start killing people, and then he does start killing people.
Like you're
Um,
supposed to get like
whereas
that back and
Cal's
forth.
death is the solution. So I don't like it. It's like in Terminator when it seems like they've destroyed it twice and there's music playing and then there's a fake out. Well, now these moments seem like they one mean nothing. I get what he's meaning because basically all stories will fake you out repeatedly. That's true. This is kind of
Mm.
the stakes thing that we talked about. Where shut the fuck up about stakes. And things like are like here's one more to talk about. Gagiel. Gagiel crying and confessing his love to Levi is emotional to me even when I know he's fine because this is still such a huge character moment for Gagiel of him finally admitting everything. Whereas like I guess that's the argument you would make for Pell because it's but things like we always knew that Pell all we know about Pell is that he's willing to die and protect himself for Vivi. Like we kind of already knew
Yeah,
that
whereas
about
like
him.
Gajul's a
So the
character, it's like,
only
okay, we
way
know Gajul started as like this selfish asshole, so it's like, oh, look at how far he's come
yeah.
now. So like you get
Whereas, like
that
with
much out of
Pell,
it.
all we know is that he's like an honorable protector. So the next step is to have Vivi actually lose someone and have Pell actually do the honorable protecting. And again, I kind of agree with the concept that maybe I wouldn't mind if they had like an emotional reunion, but they didn't, so I wouldn't know. Someone brought up the Pell 9/11 meme, which I love.
It is
I
funny.
love the idea that Pell lived because 9/11. It's awesome. In Morge's membership vid, which was about Saul, he said the real reason why people didn't mind the Saul fake out was because it was so long ago that people forgot. It's also why people were vocal about Kinemon and Wano. That's so stupid.
That is dumb.
Morge thought people forgot Saul died.
That is so stupid. Oh my
That's
god.
such a cope. Oh,
You
one
know
other
who this
thing
will
Daffy
apply
Duck.
to? This may apply to
What?
people who've like watched the anime once and then like that's it. Like
Yeah, like it's actually been
if you've read the
watched.
manga or watched it once and maybe you would have forgot what happened in episode 300 of Robin's backstory or whatever,
But it's
but
kind
like
of
for
also hard to believe because Saul is like so major.
anyone who's invested enough to watch like weekly review videos and stuff like that and get into this weird Twitter beef with Morge definitely like remembers the major like beats of each Straw Hat's backstory.
One more thing, Daffy Duck Guy, Cinnamon 27. I feel like you're always in our comments and we're always disagreeing with you, but I am glad because you at least like bring up good points and interesting perspectives. Like he's the guy who said the main Wano theme was despair, not identity,
Oh,
which is like
okay.
I think you're wrong, but that's an interesting point and you bring up good reasons why you think it. So thank you for commenting. You are a
Thank
very
you.
actually fun commenter. Next, Goth Girl 8711, one of our oldest commenters, actually. um,
Gofker.
Thoughts on the people who are hell bent on wanting to see Kuma die? Seems like they were expecting it during Egghead and they didn't get it, and now they can't let go of the prediction. I guess I haven't seen much of that, but Yeah, I was
I
like, I don't think Kuma will die, and then he didn't, and I was like, yay,
The
Kuma's
thing is, like, I
alive.
kind of took it as like Kuma is already dead in a way that like
Or like
we'll never have
he's
like.
dying.
I mean, we might maybe he'll like be revived. Maybe like we'll get the old Kuma back sooner or later. But like I always took as like the emotional reaction was I was like Kuma will never be the same as he was before. Like he's still there a bit, and that's nice. But like he'll never be the great perfect man that he used to be. He's just a
Oh,
bit
and
of a
then I
husk
got
now.
called out because then Puff, I got called out because I said I haven't cried since Yasuo's death and then the Sol reunion. And people are like, what about Kuma's flashback? It's like, whoops, I liked it a lot. I guess it just didn't get it out of me. Oops. I still think it's a masterpiece, but oops, my bad. Pretty sure the most famous fake out death is Jesus Christ. That's a funny
Cannot
example,
cite the
actually.
deep magic to me, which I was there when it was
Um,
written.
the only way to defeat the Bleach power bottom tier list is with a seven deadly sins power bottom tier list.
Oh my god. That's
Oh
actually
no,
a good idea.
I don't want
That's
to.
actually a good idea.
No,
I
Puff,
hate how
I
good
don't want
idea that
to.
is. I hate
No,
how
Puff, I
good of
don't
an
want
idea that
to.
is.
Because seven
I
deadly
hate
sins
how
is
good. No, no, no.
because seven
I'm
deadly
actually
sins is so
angry, man.
icky.
I'm actually angry because that's such a good idea, but also I don't think I want to do that because it's so icky. Oh my
No,
god.
yeah, no. The reason it's funny is the same reason it's horrible, and it's because seven deadly sins is gross.
It's like
Next,
it's like you'd show me like, hey, here's this super awesome cake that tastes really good, but also if you take a bite, your teeth will be ruined forever. And I'm like, how dare you point out the
um,
existence of this cake to me? I wish I never knew.
nice. Next, the name Lucy, in reference to Luffy and Dressrosa, is a reference to Dragon Ball. In Japanese, Rushi is one letter off of Roshi, as Luffy has the sunglasses and beard. Oh, that's cute. Okay,
That actually makes more sense because like
that's a pretty
he's
good
even
reading.
wearing the Hawaiian like collar
Yeah,
shirt.
he's doing a Roshi cosplay. So that's actually a cute idea. I like
That's
that idea.
actually like makes 1,000 times more sense than Lucifer.
Then there's someone arguing about the whole ice time capsule thing. I don't care. I'm pretty sure someone checked, and it's actually true that whenever that ice time capsule does fuck people up, but I think ice time has been pretty consistently non-lethal, which is fun. I don't really care. I don't need a logistical justification for Saul being alive. Oh wow, a giant survived a dangerous situation. I
Oh
am fucking
wow! Well, let's talk.
baffled.
Let's get into the nitty gritty between the real difference between these two attacks Kuzan does that pretty much do the same thing as far as we know.
Someone made a painfully long comment, and I don't know a lot of what they're talking about. Okay, no, this is someone bringing up some interesting points with Morge's problems. For the great literary works, they point out that Morge kind of talked like he was one of the great authorities on literary technique in the rule book. Um, let's see here. And then, as this guy points out, it depends on how it's executed. Or like,
Yeah,
oh, one
always.
thing people pointed out that we were wrong about Romeo and Juliet, which yes was kind of a bad point, because it wasn't a fake out. It wasn't a fake out death to the audience. It was only to the characters. But
Yeah.
here is then I thought of a real one of a beloved author that did do a fake out death and then let it sit for 10 real life years and then brought them back. And that's Arthur Conan Doyle with Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
And it more just like it can't be one that's controversial and hated. And I'm sure everything is controversial, but it was also generally beloved. And basically, all Sherlock Holmes shows consider it like a requirement to make a subplot about the fake death of Sherlock Holmes. It's kind of like how the other one is the what's it called? It's the woman with the pearl. I'm dumb with names. That one is also one that's considered like you have to do that story. And then
Yeah.
they just bring up a bunch of possible uh, stories about characters who fake die and come back. You can do religion with Jesus or certain incarnations of Buddha. You can do beloved children's books like Lord of the Rings or Narnia. Um, oh, also Harry and Harry Potter. um,
Dude, what
and
about
then you can
Dragon Ball? Is that not a respected piece of literature?
yeah no yeah that's the thing. I don't really know. And then they list some more I haven't read, so I'm not going to talk on how accurate it is. Fake out deaths, many Eastern mythologies and entire fictional genres are based on resurrection, reincarnation, revival, etc. That's true. This is which Morge actually kind of admitted because in his Hot Boy Spicy debate, when Hot Boy Spicy brought up Gondalf, Morge is like, "Oh, well, actually, it's a little bit different from Saul's," which is kind of Morge admitting that he's being a bit of a rat, which is like, no, it's not. No serious literature work has ever done it. You specifically don't like instances relating to how it was done with Saul. And he tries to do the whole thing where he tries to be like something is either a death fake out or a false death scene, but it's clearly a gradient. Because like he says, Galley Law fake dying in Water 7 is not a fake out. It is a fake out, not a fake death scene, because it's not supposed to draw that much emotion from you. But he says that while showing Frankie getting ready to cry as he looks out, where he thinks his friend died, and Robin saying, history, maps don't show people. And it's like, no, that's clearly supposed to be a very emotional scene. And then the reveal is they're all fucking fine. um, no, they bring up a lot of interesting things. Next is I'd love to see these guys debate Morge. I don't want to. um,
I'd get
okay.
nervous.
Blah 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 blah. Morge is all about objective observable truth, yet those don't exist because one's interpretation. Blah blah blah. Okay. That's wrong. Storytelling is both subjective and objective. Then I asked them, what do you mean by that? And they said storytelling has rules. Rules can be broken, but that doesn't automatically mean. Someone else said this. Storytelling has rules. Rules can be broken, but that doesn't automatically mean it's good, subversive, or deconstruction. I like the reunion, but it's kind of Mickey. First of all, you can't try to be smart and say storytelling rules, deconstruction, subversion, and then say something sounds Mickey. You fucking turned yourself into a clown. um, no, and it's just like the point is with rules, they can be subverted. And then your argument is, was it good or bad that it was? And I think it was good. Um, More just the type of guy to mathematically prove why and how he's the only one with a good opinion. Yeah, that's true. Holy shit, this guy commented a lot. Jello Apocalypse is basically your mom or grandma who's trying to get into your hobbies, but is incredibly racist or rude to you. That's a good joke. From what I've heard, Jello Apocalypse is a scat man. Oh, good for him,
Good
I
for
guess.
him.
I can't say I care. One Piece cult is so scary. Trash manga, garbage fan base. You're not wrong, but also, uh, you have a samurai PFP, so shut up. Why do people watch Morge anyway? It feels like he only has half a brain cell. Because, oh, then someone said he was the first person on YouTube analyzing how good One Piece was. No, 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 no. Most people
No.
are not like Kraftsdorf or
No.
even me. And I started watching Morge years after he started, but I still started watching him before he blew up. Most of his fans aren't us. Most of his fans joined during like the Wano hate train. Get the fuck out of here. They're here because he's sensationalist.
Yeah, like A, sensational, and B, he actually did like get a really good reputation early on for being a guy who just
Yeah.
does a good job,
Mhm.
like analyzing the story. And then like after he ran out of things to really analyze, he just started doing weekly rage bait, and now
Yeah.
that's what he is.
Yeah. And then someone pointed out that there are actual literary professors who will read One Piece and give takes on it. I don't watch those because that's not my thing. But I got recommended a short of one, basically borderline in tears, talking about how much of a masterpiece Mary's Burning and Robin's I Want to Live was, which, yes. Fake deaths have been, will continue to be one of the biggest flaws of One Piece. If you're going to kill a character, just do it. I don't care.
I don't disagree.
Um,
Sure.
Wait, to be honest, I never really liked Shiki, his design or his motive. You hater! His design is
He's
so
calling you
good!
out. He's calling you
No,
out.
not me. Shiki, the One Piece character, and you're a hater. Shiki has a 10 out of 10 design. How fucking dare you?
Dude, he's a
um,
rooster and he has a wheel embedded into his head. It's like a battle
mhm.
scar. That's so funny.
It's not Shiki, it's Odin. Odin lived. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, but don't you remember we
um,
saw Odin like on Onigashima when all the scabbards were recovering, and Odin was like, "Hey guys, it's me, Kozuki Odin.
Here we
Remember?"
go. It makes Saul's character worse because Saul knew Robin was alone out there, suffering, and didn't try to send her a message.
That's stupid. That's dumb.
He
It's
survived
a
and didn't
stupid
signal
point.
the revolutionaries that he is to tell Robin. How the
Like, A, does Saul have ties to the revolutionaries?
Not that we know of, and also other thing, we don't know how long Saul was like borderline like unable to move. And also like Robin was famously organization hopping, so it was hard for anyone to
Yeah, I
contact
know.
her.
Like, think about it. The world government didn't get their hands on Robin, so how would Saul?
Um
Think
okay, and
about
then
that for
he
a
says
second.
he's been on Elba, and then someone else says
If
Saul's been on Elba
Saul,
for
if
20.
Saul could find out where Robin is and send her a message, wouldn't the world government have already found out where she was
Yeah.
and gotten to her before then?
Next, they say Saul's been on Elbaf for. Someone else said this. Saul's been on Elbaf for 20 years. He could just tell some giants to keep an eye out for Robin when they leave the island. Sure, he could ask them that.
But like, how
Okay,
many, how many, how many of them do that? Especially now that Dory and Brogy aren't
yeah.
captain of the pirates
Also, like
anymore.
the only giants we know who have met Robin are Harujin. So basically, the question is, did he ask
Like,
Harujin
I
to?
guess it was like, okay, either Hajuden or Shanks, I guess. So he could have asked one of those two. And Shanks famously
Yeah,
has the smallest crew of any emperor,
no.
and
And he said,
they
hell was
mostly seem
Shanks.
to be in the new world, which Robin was not for the past 20 years.
No, and then he writes a fan fiction where he's like, Saul could have begged Shanks to keep an eye out for Robin, and Shanks would have agreed because Shanks wants a way to read poneglyphs. And it's like, first of all, what if Saul and Shanks just aren't that close? Because Saul's like a teacher, and Shanks seems to be a bar hopper. What if they don't interact particularly often?
Okay, well,
What if
let's. It probably went well within his ability to like find Shanks in one of his
Yeah, so let's
visits
say
and
he
tell him.
asked him, but what if all Shanks said is sure, I'll keep a lookout for her if you want. And then I don't know, like maybe Shanks comes back to Elbath like every 6 months and he's like, Yep, she's not dead. And Saul's like, Oh nice. like it's such a specific, and then what I pointed out is even if your nitpicks are right, I said good for you, these will be some pretty sick actually why didn't they do this questions for CBRs to use in an article. Like it's such a CBR thing, just
It is. It
why
definitely
didn't
is.
Saul, it's like we don't
Like
know, so
it's on
shut
the
up.
it's honestly it's on the same level of why didn't Crocodile catch Vivi sooner in the
That
interview?
one's so stupid.
Hmm?
It's just Saul, it's just the one
Why
piece
did
world,
he
it's hard to
catch Miss
talk to people.
Wednesday in the first interview
Hmm.
when she walked into the Rain Base and said, "Hey, Mr. Crocodile, sir, may I join Baroque Works?" And Mr. Crocodile looked at her face, squinted real hard, and said, "Yes, random stranger. Of course you can."
Um, anyway, next is a guy I argued with. Basically, they're coming in and they're like, guys, Chibi Reviews got doxxed, which is, yes, that was bad. And also, some MHA fans do death threats. It's like, yes, that was bad. But also, we were making fun of him for calling MHA fans mentally ill because they did a gay redraw of the final chapter and blocked Horikoshi. Two completely normal things.
Yeah, I know. It's
Oh,
just like
and then also with the whole people mad at Anaki for us doing a McDonald's ad, he said um he said he's not in direct opposition to the boycott just because he worked in an ad for the company. Yes, he is. I think an
do you know what a
advertisement
boycott
is,
is?
yeah, like an advertisement's like the direct opposite of a boycott. Also, he then said, he's a Mexican kid. He probably doesn't even know a thing. Do not infantilize him. He's a grown man. Stop it. Also, I feel like it's your job as an actor, or at the very least, like your crew's job, to look into the optics and possible problems of an advertisement you do. So I think the criticism still stands. So
Like
yeah, all
honestly,
that's
personally,
stupid.
I'm not bothered by it. Like whatever. Like I'm sure he's taking whatever work he can. Uh,
I
but
don't know how true that is. It's like, is he not getting paid well enough
that
from
that
fucking
is okay.
OPLA?
You know what that is true. I actually don't fucking know. I just thought like because he's kind of a actor I wasn't aware of. I assumed he was like
Yeah,
didn't
but
have
like,
a whole
does he
lot
not have that
until One
fucking
Piece.
Netflix money? Oh,
I
someone
don't
brought
know
up a really
what how much is
fun.
Netflix money. I don't know.
Yeah, no. So someone brought up something specific they didn't like about Gel Apocalypse, which is basically the only time they show or talk about Nami is in relation to her fucking more than Zoro, fucking more women than Zoro and Sanji, and her kissing Vivi. Um,
Valid.
what they pointed out is not only is that the only time he really talks about female characters, that's also the only time he talks about any like LGBTness in One Piece. They're basically like that's weird. You don't make an Ace Luffy joke. You don't make a Zoro Sanji gay joke. The only one you make is as they put it, sexualizing lesbians, which is like yeah, he kind of did do that. And then what I pointed out is not only that. Do you know what he did, Puff?
What?
By only bringing up Nami in reference to her ability to fuck, he did the cardinal sin of only talking about a shonen main girl in reference to her love interests with Nami, who doesn't have a love interest.
That's actually true right now.
How did he do that? Okay, and then what I point out is he also kind of did that with Jinbei, where Jinbei's like a based king, racist obliterator, my goat, but he just calls him a fish because he doesn't like how One Piece handles the racism. Um, yeah, it's just yeah, he bad video. You can dive into a lot of things he does and call them bad.
Yeah.
All right, next, blah blah blah. Also, Kuzan sparing Saul is pure headcanon. I agree.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think no. I was just saying that Saul being alive had more potential than Clover or Olvia because Saul was frozen by a guy who famously freezes people and then doesn't kill them, and that's like a little fucking suspicious.
Yeah. Again, we
I
don't
believe Zebek.
know exactly what whether he did that intentionally or not at the moment, but like the
No, but
possibilities
it's
there.
just
Whatever.
it's more suspicious than Olvia, who just got fucking shot. Next, I feel like Louis Arnett was the one who inspired Roger to take the seas. Timeline wise, that's definitely possible. That's
Yeah.
a cute idea. I don't
Yeah.
even hate that. Next, I believe Zebek is still alive, or at the very least, a clone of him. Um, is this Roche Thompson at Impel Down inmate, who's mentioned to have been sentenced to level 5, as Roche Thompson is a reference to Roche Brasiliano, a Dutch pirate who mysteriously disappeared, and as the historic basis for Rocks. Cute idea. Definitely possible. I want Rocks to be dead because I think Teach carrying his will is more interesting.
Well, what if they do the My Hero Academia thing? Where it's like, oh, he will carry my will, but also we're gonna do it in the fucked up way, and I'm gonna take him into make him a mini me. I'm gonna make him
Yeah,
a mini
maybe.
me.
I kind of just don't
Maybe.
want that. Next, basically, someone says that Saul being alive doesn't recontextualize anything, especially the emotions, because Robin lived decades alone and sad, which is true.
Yeah.
But I still think that when I reread the Saul flashback, I'm going to be slightly less sad because I know he's alive. And they basically said, well, actually, Saul being dead is just an assumption you make. You can't criticize the story off of an assumption. But
I
the
think.
story wants you to think Saul's dead. Saul's
Yeah.
last words to Robin are, "I think my time," or like, "I think this is it for me." And like, yeah, we're still assuming, but the story clearly wants you to assume he's
Yeah,
dead.
yeah,
This
sure.
isn't.
It's not like the
This isn't like
narrator. It's not like
fucking.
the narrator, like the voice of God came in, and this is when Jaguar D. Saul died for
But it's still
realsies.
like that's clearly how you're supposed to take it. Like I would even say someone like Geen actually had like a "it's completely up in the air if he's dead or not" thing because he literally said the poison's probably going to kill me, but if not, see you later, and then he left. And it's like, oh, I actually have no idea if Geen's making it out or not.
He made it out, and he's in the new world. He's on Beehive. He's one of the 10 Titanic captains alongside his
Oh,
man Don fucking Krieg.
Saul never received a level of narrative finality. Just because he believed it was the end doesn't make it his fate a confirmed fact. That's so stupid. The story clearly wants you to read it as him being dead. I'm not you can't trick me into thinking I'm delusional for thinking you're
Shiki,
supposed to think Saul's dead.
Shiki, he was
What?
never dead. He was never dead.
I
I'm
know.
telling you
But you're
right
supposed to
now.
think he was.
No, you're not.
Um, let's see here. Zoro, Nami, Chopper, Frankie, Brook, Jinbei all do not have any significant blood family members. They're just pointing out that a lot of Straw Hats don't have important blood
Wait,
relations.
who did they say? Chopper, Frankie, who?
Oh, let me check. Um, um, let's see here. They said Zoro, which is iffy because like Zoro is loosely related to important people, like loosely.
Yeah,
It's like he still
Ryuma in
is,
like a
but not.
distant ancestry, like sure, but like
And then
got a kinda one.
Nami, we literally don't know anything about her family. Chopper's a fucking reindeer. Frankie, even if you believe he's related to Queen, that's not exactly a noble bloodline.
No, not exactly.
Brooke,
You
I
can't
mean,
even
there's a
really
cute.
say that like, oh, this will mean that he's born to be a top tier or whatever, because like Queen's a top tier because he's a cyborg, and like Frankie's also
Which is
strong
the
because he's a
same reason
cyborg.
Frankie's strong,
Is being
actually. So it was
cyborg is
genetic.
being cyborg genetic? It's not. It's
Yes,
not.
it's yes. He got yes. He inherited the cyborg brain. Next is
Also,
Brooke.
don't trust the. Also, we don't. I don't even. I think that whole thing's fucking bullshit. Still.
Oh, yeah, no, fun thing. They brought up Brooke. Old famous theory is that Brooke and Kuzan are related because their kid selves look borderline identical. I don't want to be dead ass. I wouldn't mind if that was confirmed, just because it'd be kind of funny. Because it doesn't mean anything. They have no fucking relation to each other. But literally, they are so similar looking as kids. I wouldn't mind if it got confirmed. I only got two things from this video. One, I don't think Chopper is actually based on a Tanuki. It's just for the purpose of the joke. Well, no, Chopper is clearly. Chopper does have Tanuki vibes. It's part of the point. He doesn't look like a literal like raccoon, but he does look like the cartoonized version of a Tanuki you can buy in shops.
Yeah, like a
He
little
does.
fuzzy guy who talks. He's like, oh, I hear
Yeah.
Tanuki.
The Granny and Dandadan is not just a Lucky Charm cat, but the Turbo Granny. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
um,
We're talking about
let's see
mascots.
here.
Are we
Uh,
get the Turbo Granny little plush at the store? No.
and then some guy said that a chapter after the Saul reunion confirmed that Kuzan really did free Saul and leave him to die, and Saul survived by dumb luck. I don't think I checked. I couldn't find that. Also, why would Saul know how malicious Kuzan was? He
Yeah,
was a fucking
he's not a
poet.
mind reader.
Um, Oda doesn't like killing characters because he likes doing wacky things with characters later. I don't
I
really
think
think
that's
that's a good.
absolutely true. That's why antagonists keep coming back. Is that because
Yeah,
Oda
because he
likes
wants to do
reusing
funny things
characters?
with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be dead ass. The guy that Bellamy killed showing up again blew my fucking mind. It's like Rosho the Executioner. He's completely irrelevant. He only showed up to get killed by Bellamy. So him reappearing like 700 chapters later was like, holy shit, why is Roshio
What's the
alive?
point? What do
Like,
you
obviously,
get
it
out
doesn't
of
matter
this?
because, like, Bellamy is still a cool guy who fucking obliterated a man and destroyed like a whole city block just because the guy was beating him at cards. But it's just like, oh hey, Rosho's alive. Like, I kind of love it because it's so fucking random. It's like,
I know.
why? Why
Again,
Roshio?
it's not like anything is lost by bringing it back, but it's just like, why though? This is so
I kind of.
goofy.
It's like so absurd. It's kind of funny. It's like, yeah, sure, Rosho's alive. Who gives a shit? And that's it for comments.
No, it's not. We got some on the last video that came out.
Oh fuck! I didn't check that
Oh,
one.
I
You
know.
got
There's.
me.
I actually looked on it. There's really only one relevant to One Piece. Okay, just watch your video ranking Straw Hat candidates, and I wanted to know if your stance on Vivi being an honorary Straw Hat in the same way as Momo and Kinemon, and that they likely won't rejoin, has changed since then. Now that Egghead has set
Yeah,
Vivi
I
up as
think
an
Vivi's
extremely
gonna
important
rejoin.
character moving forward, I've personally been pretty confident that she will rejoin the crew at some point, especially with the message she sent at 11:30. I don't know if this really counts for these videos, but I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. You could also talk about the theory that she'll eat the pawpaw fruit and the fucking pawpaw fruit theory, man.
Okay, here's the thing.
The
she'll eat
fact that the
pawpaw
one of
fruit
the
theory
main pieces of evidence is numerology makes it pretty far fetched, but with potential connection to Lily, I think
What's
it could be
funny
pretty
is
cool.
I think you're selling yourself short. First of all, numerology is a horrible thing to use as evidence, and it's dumb. But don't you
This
worry.
is what I
I
always say.
agree.
This is what I always say to numerology theories. There's only 9 numbers lower than 10, and you could find them all over the
um,
goddamn story if you want.
no, but here's the funny thing: they're selling themselves short. I agree, Vivi's going to rejoin, and I think Vivi eating the pawpaw fruit would be hilarious. And the main evidence for both is, first of all, the main evidence that Vivi's going to eat the pawpaw fruit, from what I can tell, is that Robin associates it with cat paws, and Vivi's from Alabasta. Horrible evidence still, but also it would be funny just because Vivi having a high tier devil fruit sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, and like the whole like Lily thing where it's like, okay, Lily did something to scatter the poneglyphs around the earth. Like the idea for doing it with the pawpaw fruit is like pretty plausible and would be
Especially because
a
she
cool
sent it to
way.
her al. Especially because she sent it to her allies, and the pawpaw fruit can only send things to places you've been.
Yeah, but like it's possible that you just like sent them by boat secretly to all these different places, like covertly. But like it would be fun to wait to use the pop-off fruit, be like, oh, this one character did this one cool historic thing with it. That's possible. That's a fun idea.
Nice. And then I do agree that because I'm pretty sure we made that ranking during Wano, and now yeah, I think Vivi rejoining the crew is
Yeah.
extremely fucking
No,
likely.
yeah, like honestly, like I would still leave them if I had to remake the list. I'd probably still leave them in the same tier. But like, if someone wanted to make another tier above Kinemon and Momo and put like Vivi and Karu there, yeah, sure. I think that's completely fair. That's
Because yeah,
good.
I think they're gonna rejoin. I think
Yeah,
that's
no,
extremely
it's like
likely.
honorary Straw Hat, joining pending, or like rejoin pending.
Next is Ronin one, who's an also old commenter. Was just talking about their favorite things of the year. They like Mashuko Tensei. Good for you. I don't. Ascendance of a
I'll
Bookworm
try
looks
one day.
cute.
That's good. I like that.
A game of the year is Satisfactory because it finally hit 1.0. I don't know what that's referencing. And then they started Undead Unluck. Oh fuck, that ended. I have to read that. Comey ended. No, I'm not getting any more Arissa. No.
No, volume release, volume release. You might get to see the
Yeah,
back
I'll
of her
get one
head
more.
one more time.
And then they got a raise. Good for you, Ronan. 111111111. Oh, someone brought up the folding ideas wall, nostalgia critic wall video. Believe me, I've seen
Oh,
it many times. That video's
we
a
don't
masterpiece.
need this lame ass album. This is from a different video, but it's still
That's
great.
from Anthony Fantano.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just yeah, that's it for
Critic,
comments.
leave the wall alone.
Whoa. That's it.
Ba-na,
Thank you for commenting, everyone. Give us more bad One Piece
ba-na-na.
opinions. We're running out.
Hey,
Try to remember if there's
critic,
any huge ones
leave
we
the
haven't
wall
covered,
alone.
by the way, because
Yeah.
like we keep having to do weekly drama because we're running out of
Oh yeah,
we're
no.
running out of big
Bad
ones.
One Piece opinions fell off. We used to do like the big important things, like people thinking Ace was being groomed to be Pirate King. Now we're just doing weekly drama bullshit, and
We're
frankly,
running out. It's so sad. It's
yeah.
so sad. I want to do goofy shit again.
Maybe like we can just do like the collection we had for the first video, except do it again, but the audio won't be shit this time.
we find all the videos with shit audio and we remake them. That is peak lazy content. That's a
Yes.
Puff. That
Get
sounds,
ready to
Puff,
hear
no,
us
Puff, you
talk
know what that
about
sounds like?
what?
No, Puff, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like what the next like subscriber milestone special would be. We just live stream ourselves redoing all the old content.
Get ready to hear me talk about Sanji Lunarian for a third or fourth
Get
time.
ready to hear us yell about Yamato again. Oh no. Hilarious idea. That is all. Thank everyone for watching. What are
Good
we
night.
doing next, by the way?
Oh, what are we doing next?
Is it Fairy Tale Power Bottoms?
We could do that. Yeah, that'd be fun. I was considering maybe doing like a good Bleach opinions because I kind of want to go through the comment section of my like Bankai video on the main channel. Because like I remember some people brought up some cool or like fun theories or like their particular takes that I thought could be fun. Yeah, that could be
I
fun.
like talking about.
But also I guess I guess
again.
like we should maybe do that after I release my next one so that we can have more to work with.
So that we can boost it if
Yeah.
it starts underperforming.
Oh yeah, but
So,
by
yeah.
the way, next video for the main channel is gonna be me talking about the Arrancar, and it's gonna be fun. I
Puff,
suspect
you know
the
what we
video will
could
be
start
like 40
doing?
minutes long or something. It'll be good. Yeah.
I feel we could start doing is we're lazy, and channels just as small as us has done this. We could just hold polls between like 3 ideas and let them pick.
No, I won't let these people pick anything. I'm gonna do what
They
I
pick
want.
plenty of things. We literally talked about their comments for like 40
That's
minutes. What do you
different.
mean they don't
That's
pick
different.
things?
That's
They
different. That's
literally
different.
picked what we talked
That's
about for
different.
40 minutes
That's
of this
different.
video.
That's different. That's different. That's different. That's different. Goodbye.